Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, and on this channel we talk Kanye West and, well, Jay Electronica, but it's Kanye related. So I don't know if you're familiar with what this is, but in 2009, Jay Electronica is this up and coming rapper. Everybody's excited about his pen game, about his rapping ability. This guy's going to do great things, and he announced his debut album, Act 2, Patents of Nobility. And then that shit got delayed. Like 2009, it's announced. 2012, a track list leaks. 2014 says it's going to come out. 2017 says it's going to come out. And then just nothing. And earlier this year, a written testimony did come out, which was the debut Jay Electronica album. But it was so short and so heavily Jay-Z influence, with like Jay-Z being on every track and dominating the track a lot of the times, that it was anticlimactic in terms of what people were hoping for from Jay Electronica. And then this album actually leaked just a few days ago, and in the wake of the leak and how prominent it was and how covered it was, it actually got released officially to Tidal. It may not surprise you that Jay Electronica is signed to Rock Nation and Jay-Z, which is why this is on Tidal, but it is interesting that it's finally seeing the light of day. And it's Kanye related for two reasons. One, two songs were supposed to have Kanye features, but you can see along the side here with the features list that those are missing. And two, that Life on Mars actually has the Bound 1 sample, or there's confusion around whether or not it does have the Bound 1 sample, would be a more accurate statement. So we're going to get into both of those things in this video. So you can see here in this article by Hip Hop and More, Jay Electronica's full Act 2 Patents of Nobility album surfaces online after a decade. We all know the story. It was in the works in 2009, highly anticipated, yada, yada, yada. This was the track list. So you can see that New Illuminati featured Kanye West, and it was 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And then Rough Love features Kanye West at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. He's off of both of those. But New Illuminati, you can see, came out at only a minute 32 versus 2 minutes and 6 seconds, so 34 seconds missing, versus Rough Love, which is actually 2:39 versus 2:40. I feel like when you listen to Rough Love, there's a kind of background vocal portion that's not a verse, or is more kind of like a singing verse kind of thing. It just feels like that would have been the verse that Kanye had, or the spot that Kanye had, and that maybe Jay Electronica had a reference track ready and had a version that was just his voice performing what Kanye would eventually perform, which is why this song came in at roughly the same time, versus New Illuminati, which probably had more of a full Kanye verse that they just weren't able to use, and that's why that's missing 34 seconds, right? That's purely speculation on my part, but I wonder if we actually eventually get the songs with Kanye on them, if that's going to be the case. Why Kanye's not on them, I'm not sure if that has something to do with contracts, if that has something to do with like payments, or like if you want to go full conspiracy, it's like, oh, Jay wanted to keep, like Jay-Z wanted to keep Kanye off because this is like a Jay-Z kind of project in a way, as Jay has been the one that signed Jay Electronica, etc., etc. I don't think you should go there with that, but it is interesting that we got the versions without Kanye and without the Kanye features. But you could see there that it seems like they existed at some point in time. And then you can see that Act 2 is officially out in the world. And yeah, it was definitely a leak. And the person says, "This isn't the way we like to get our music, and we empathize with any artist who has their work unfairly released without their permission, but this is truly unprecedented. Perhaps this will get Jay to officially release the album in some form soon." This also feels quite similar to what recently happened with the original copy of Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which was unlocked from a password after a decade. Yeah, kind of wild. But there's actually discussion about the group buy in West Suburban. You may remember Yandy Leaks, if Kanye fans that frequent Reddit, and the fact that Yandy Leaks had a history in group buying Kanye leaks, right? So somebody would say, I have this leak available of Law of Attraction, pay me $2,000. and then the sub would get together and a bunch of people would chip in money and they would buy that version of the song or that leak of the song, often incompletes, and people were buying like multiple versions of leaks and putting them together and yada yada yada. And this wasn't like a West Sub Ever Yandhi Leaks like project, right? It was definitely like in the leak community, group by community, but there's a little bit of a backstory here from Pi Awesome, who was the original founder of Yandhi Leaks, right? Saying that the group buy server was absolutely crazy. Friends of Jay Electronica and people who worked on the project were in there constantly. We may see the Yay features soon, which is interesting as well, right? Don't know why I'm being downvoted. Ask anyone who was there. And it says Jay's team was there chilling. So it seems like Jay Electronica was very aware of this. There's always been speculation about why it wasn't released. Like, was it the number of samples in the songs? Was it that the label just didn't have faith that it was going to sell? Was it Jay Electronica being too nitpicky and not wanting to release an album that he didn't think was good enough? Like, what was going on behind the scenes? But Jay Electronica has actually been like kind of happy about it. Like, Allah is indeed the best for planners, humbled by the love it's receiving, which this makes me think Allah is indeed the best for planners. Like, this idea that you might be trying to plan something perfectly, but then God like does what God does and takes it out of your hands and releases it, and you're worried, but then you realize like this was all just God's plan, like humbled by the love it's receiving. So that makes me wonder if it was Jay Electronica himself who was nervous about the quality of the work, and now that he's seeing everybody love it, is actually kind of excited about everything. So that'd be like an ideal outcome, right? And it was after it leaked that then Tidal kind of grabbed it and was like, all right, we're gonna make this official rather than relying on the leaks. And Jay Electronica has kind of acknowledged it a little bit more, but did he get rid of the rest of his tweets? That'd be interesting. Okay. But the other reason why we're talking about this is Bound 1. So you can see even right here, Tyrone DeWhite saying Bound 1 beat is on track 4, pretty dope. And Bappy saying sample. And yeah, this is kind of what it comes back to. So there's this article on the Boombox by Max Weinstein saying, we all know about Bound 2, the orgasmic, intentionally cheesy closer to Yeezus. Some of us may know where that honey comes from, while others may recognize that the real Bound 1 is by the Ponderosa Twins +1. But recently, Hudson Mohawk played a different version of the Kanye West song, apparently with co-production from Tyler, the Creator, right? Which is just like, oh shit, because we know at this point in time, like Tyler back in 2014 was known as this outrageous lyricist, right? Not really as a musician or producer in that way, but just like shock. Like he had shock value to his work. But after the release of Flower Boy and Igor, like Tyler's prominence as a producer has really come into full effect. So here, like the idea that Tyler was doing this production with Hudson Mohawk on Bound 1 and this unreleased version of the song was really exciting and interesting, and still is, like even more so now that we know what we know about Tyler's production skills. You can see it features the warped keys from Wee's Aeroplane, a soul classic that has also been flipped by Ski Beats and Just Blaze. It reminded us, wasn't there another version of Bound 2 that we had heard where that sample is also more prominent? And they cite the music video. The music video for Bound 2 has this extended intro that has more of the piano notes that they're referencing, and the piano notes that make up Life on Mars here, that has that same Ponderosa sample. So there tends to be this confusion when people hear that, because Bound 1 is so associated with Kanye and that beat is so associated with Kanye, but it's just like an original sample that they're using and had adapted, right? And Jay Electronica back in 2010 had also had rough songs for At Fat Belly Bella that didn't make the final cut. That's what it was like labeled. It wasn't known as Life on Mars at that point. But the song is, of course, an ode to Erykah Badu and perhaps their breakup. And Just Blaze claims there are multiple versions of this beat floating around the internet, but here he layers the dancing piano over the same chords that Charlie Wilson sings, forming the entire instrumental that Jay goes over. Kanye's flip has more layers. Not only do those chords introduce the video version, but the cyclical nature of the beat makes that sample resonate even when it's not actually playing. It sways in tandem with the Ponderosa flip, and Wilson's vocals make the song soar into ecstasy. Just's approach is more tame. The beautiful, more acoustic piano at the beginning is a lush touch, and the fact that he keeps the keys playing under the dominant chords gives the beat an undercurrent, but it just does not match up to No ID and Kanye's creativity here. Then again, if Just Blaze were to convince Jay Elect to release Act 2, we'd gladly reverse the score in his favor. Yeah, people were desperate for this album. Tyler's version, while it plays the Wii loop nicely throughout the verses, doesn't pack the emotional punch that No ID's beat does. So people have been talking about like the comparisons between these beats for a while, and there's even speculation that Kanye was in the studio with Jay Electronica back in 2011 and may have heard Life on Mars back then, and actually known to use that sample or thought about that sample when going to make Yeezus and Bound 2, which is kind of wild to think about. Don't know if that's actually the case, but the fact that this has existed prior to Bound 1 and Bound 2, and that Kanye eventually kind of bit that, goes down for some fascinating lore, right? A rumor that could take on legs, like, oh, Kanye actually got that from Jay Electronica. So I don't know, maybe somebody will confirm it one day. But here's the original Ponderosa Twins Bound, right? And just funny to have like the song called Bound and Kanye taking it to like Bound 2. So it's not only the reinvention of this song, the sequel to the song, but also being bound to someone, bound to something. Like when you marry someone, you're bound to them. You bind yourself to them. And that's what the Bound 2 song is about. Kanye reminiscing or reflecting on the idea that could this be a woman that he's going to be bound to for the rest of his life. You know, if they can make it to Christmas, who knows what could happen in this relationship. And it also has that little bit of irony where at the end of the music video, which hopefully this video doesn't get taken down for copyright because I showed the music video, but at the end of the music video, you can see that where's that last shot? Right there. You can see the barbed wire, right? With Bound 2 in between. The fact that it's barbed wire just kind of gets at the double-edgedness of being in a relationship where you make yourself completely vulnerable to the other person and the danger that comes with that and the sacrifice that comes with that, you know, because somebody like Kanye or like the Yeezus character in that album gives up a lot to be single when you have so many options available to you in a lifestyle that's vastly different than a married person, right? So especially Kanye, who had been so single up to that point, thinking about like, okay, the lifestyle I'm about to give up, like I'm about to be bound to you, the danger that could come with that, like emotionally, financially. It's cool how he plays with that title. Anyway, so that's what we got if you want to listen to the original song. And then ending spiel. The thing we're best known for is our podcast, Watching the Throne. We have our public feed and our Patreon feed. And on the public feed, we put out episodes on an album at a time, right? One episode a week. And we're currently going through The College Dropout for the second time. So you can see We Don't Care and All Falls Down have released. If you want to hear the line-by-line analysis that we are so well known for and forever have the way you listen to Kanye change forever, this is a easy spot to start. But if you want more, right, our Patreon has our whole catalog of available song analysis, and we put out 2 new episodes a week, as well as bonus content, right? So you can see that we're in the midst of our second time through late registration. So really far ahead from where we were on College Dropout. So if you want to listen to all the College Dropout season, as well as get into late registration and our Yay, Kids See Ghost and Jesus is King seasons, then you can go to Patreon, just $5, and you're getting like dozens of episodes, and you'll be getting 2 new ones each and every week. We're about to record our, what episode is it? Rose's episode tomorrow. So that's going to drop on Patreon in the next few days if you want to support us that way, which is much appreciated. Otherwise, liking, subscribing, and commenting goes a long way, as it tells YouTube that this is a channel people enjoy and they show it to more people. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another video real soon. Cheers.